afternoon. Welcome to Comox Council. Sorry for the heat of this room. Our AC is not coping well with the heat outside, so we'll try to move along so that it's not too uncomfortable for everyone. First item would be adoption of the agenda, and with one late item being an item of correspondence regarding the DCM we'll discuss later in the meeting.
Move. Second.
Adoption. All those in favor? Motion is carried. I also wanted to make special mention that tonight is actually the last regular council meeting that our former Director of Finance, Don Jaquest, who's over there in the corner hiding, will be here. He retired as Director of Finance at the beginning of July, and his successor is Clive, next to him. And we just wanted to thank you, Don, again for all your work, and I know there'll be more opportunity to do so later on this month, but thank you for all your sage wisdom and advice.
Yes. Here, here.
So tonight we have a special awards ceremony, and we're going to sort of have this happen over by the podium. And I would just like to open it by acknowledging that there's a lot of work put in by Councillor McKinnon and his committee on the nominations for these awards over the last number of years. And I thank him again for bringing those forward to us and having everyone attend this evening, and we'll hear more about the recipients. The Ray Crossley Awards were initiated a number of years ago, and the nomination criteria is exceptional school or community youth leadership or exceptional achievement at a provincial national level competition for youth. I think it's under 25 who are residents or were residents of the town of Comox. And of course, it goes without saying they're named after former councillor Ray Crossley, who served council from 2002 to 2009, and he was a good friend of mine and many people around this table, and was somebody who had a lot of passion for recreation in particular, and also youth. Of course, he worked as a community youth services worker, and while doing all that and being a councillor, he raised two fine young men. One of them is here today. So I'll just come to the podium now, and we'll introduce briefly the member of the family here tonight. Here is Aidan Crossley. So Aidan, a member of the Crossley family, and I know your brother is in Toronto these days and doing very well, so thank you for attending, and we'll get you to help do the presentations here as well. And there's one little special thing I wanted to present to you. This is something we wanted to give you for some time. This is Ray Crossley's name tag. It used to be around the table, so figured you're probably a good guardian of that.
Thank you.
And I know that he was a very active and engaged member of council, so I know you'll keep that in your heart. So give that to you there.
See you.
All right, cheers. All right, so I would like to just call up on an individual basis councillors who will then read out the details about the recipient. And the first one is Councillor Swift.
Shall I just stay here?
Sure, that would be fine when you come up.
I have the privilege of introducing Ethan Tansky. So Ethan, welcome. Ethan was nominated based on his leadership skills and academic and athletic success at Aspen Elementary School. Ethan is a talented young man of Métis heritage with gifted ability in creative work. This year, he won the Legion Remembrance Day Art Contest for Central Vancouver Island. He has demonstrated outstanding leadership with the grade 6-7 leadership group, such as putting together photo boards of students around the school, hosting Aboriginal educational learning experiences, such as the Métis Jiggling Group, and bringing storytelling into the classroom. Athletically, he placed first in district track meet in the 100 and 200 meters. He is currently the youngest by 2 years enrolled in the lifeguarding and water safety instructor's course. His leadership will be sadly missed at Aspen Park School, but will be Highland School's gain. Congratulations, Ethan, and given your age and all your interests, I'm sure we're going to be hearing lots more from you over the years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And if any family members want to get photos, can certainly do that. So.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, or we'll send you a copy. All right, we'll do that. All right, the next on this list is, so I'm going to bring it up on screen again here, is Councillor Russ Arnott.
Yeah. Good afternoon. I'd like to present this one to Judd Foster. Judd represented Highland Secondary at the Skills Canada competition in electronics and won the gold medal in his competition, which was an amazing result. He will go on to represent Canada at the World Skills Competition in Abu Dhabi in October, and a tremendous accomplishment that all of us in Comox are very proud of. Well done, Judd. I've got an old VCR if you can fix for me. Hasn't worked for a while.
Next is Councillor Ken Grant.
Thank you. So it's my pleasure to introduce Reed Cochran. I happen to know his parents, and he's overcome a lot, just to know that. So, Reed was selected the top male athlete at Highland Secondary this year. He was an island champion in the javelin throw and went on to win the silver medal in the BC High School Track and Field Championships in Vancouver. This completing a great athletic career at Highland Secondary. Congratulations.
Little known fact is that when Councillor Ken Grant was in school, he was champion in the javelin catching.
Yeah,
That's what happened.
and they were throwing it.
Next is Councillor Mark Grant.
Thank you. And I have the pleasure of meeting Lizzie Gummer. Lizzie has been ranked the top in Canada under 20 track and field hurdler. She was again an island champion in the hurling events, a silver medalist at the BC Championships in the 100-meter hurdles, but chose not to defend her provincial title in the 400 meters, instead returning to Comox to attend her high school graduation. Good decision, Lizzie, wherever you are. Where is Lizzie? She's not here. Oh, isn't that too
Well, we'll make sure that she gets that and
Yes.
try to get a picture as well.
I might finish, though.
Yes.
Now you're done.
Also, very important to know this about Lizzie, she was offered and has accepted an academic and track and field scholarship to prestigious Harvard University. Yeah, pretty special.
All right, and then Councillors McKinnon and Price will speak to the final word.
So we had the privilege of introducing Taylor McKechnie. Taylor is an extremely compassionate, hard-working and thoughtful individual who made positive contributions to her school and local community on a daily basis, and was this year's recipient of the prestigious Highland Service Award.
She was a Rotary Interact leader, a peer leader, a grad committee chair at Highland, and mentored to younger students. In the community, Taylor volunteered with the Salvation Army, organized food drives through the We Scare Hunger group, delivered Christmas hampers, and organized mental health awareness events.
She answers the call of helping others in need and feels it a great honor to do so, and is planning to do formal study at North Island College in psychology with the aim of supporting others with their mental and emotional health. Congratulations, Taylor.
That's okay. So, well, thank you, everyone, for participating. We'll make sure that Lizzie gets her award. And with that, you're more than welcome to stay, but you're also free to go. And thank you again for Aiden coming, and please pass on our kind regards to your brother. Yeah.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. We introduce you.
Oh, actually, so that just looks...
Technically, the McKenna's, we gotta stick.
All right, so we'll move on with the agenda. The next delegation is here from HMCS Quadra to speak to us about the history and impact of Quadra upon Comox Valley. So we have three members here from Quadra, and we'll let you guys take the podium and tell us who you are and what you're here to say.
Hi, I'm Chief Pedestrian Second Class Tamara Statham. I'm working at HMCS Quadra this summer as the Chief of Standards. So I'm in charge of the drill, dress, and deportment of the entire ship. I come from Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta, and I'm here for 8 weeks this summer. I'm just here to talk about the cadet program with you guys.
There's a remote control on the podium. Push the button on the left, and then it advances.
In theory.
Or on the right, sorry.
That was a test.
So we have three elements in the cadet program, just like the Canadian Armed Forces have. We've got the Sea Cadets, the Army Cadets, and the Air Cadets. We have over 54,000 cadets across Canada in this youth program. We're the largest government-run youth program in Canada right now. We are not a junior military. We don't expect people in the cadet program to join the military. That's not our aim. Our aim is developing leadership, citizenship, gaining confidence, athleticism. So this is just a little bit of history from the Royal Canadian Sea Cadets. In 1917, we had the Boys Naval Brigades. In 1923, we had the Navy League Sea Cadets. 1942, we had the Royal Canadian Sea Cadets, which is what we're known as now. 1975, we merged with the Navy League Renettes. That meant that girls could also join Royal Canadian Sea Cadets. We have over 8,000 Sea Cadets in Canada right now, with 229 corps across Canada. HMCS, this is HMCS Quadra. You guys know where that is. It was the first Sea Cadets trained here in 1953. It was commissioned as HMCS Quadra by the Royal Canadian Navy in 1956. There's 22 cadet training centers across Canada right now, and 20,000 cadets are trained each summer. Many former Quadra cadets and cadets in general have gone to become cabinet members, MPs, MLAs, council and community leaders. Cadets become citizens who give back to their communities. The aim of the cadet program is to build a better Canada, one cadet at a time. HMCS Quadra, these are just a couple stats for us for the summer. We expect to train over 1,100 course cadets, representing all, or not all, but 8 provinces of Canada. We have 160 staff cadets. So those staff cadets range from staff cadets who are in charge of divisions, so divisions of cadets who are undergoing training for the summer. We've got people who are in the support services, so we've got people who work boat shed, they're in charge of all the training on water. We've got people who are in services who are in charge of keeping Quadra looking really nice all summer. We've got people in canteen who, it's where the cadets can go and buy anything if they need stuff that they've forgotten or just to get a cold drink, stuff like that. We have 115 adult staff, so that's these two are adult staff with me here today. We've got civilian members who come to instruct. We have NCMs, so people from the actual military who come and help instruct us. We also create a significant amount of local jobs for local youth and people who live here. So our caterers hire local youth to work in our galley and do our cleaning services, and our doby, which is our laundry services. Quadra is also moving to becoming a more year-round training center. So local corps and corps from the island will come here for stuff like sail weekends or nautical weekends, stuff like that to keep them up during the year. So we offer a bunch of different courses at HMCS Quadra. So the first one that you can apply to take when you're 12 years old when you first join the program is called General Training. You come to the base for 2 weeks, and we have 3 intakes of that. You do a little bit of everything during General Training. So you do a little bit of sailing, you do a little bit of drill and ceremonial, a little bit of marksmanship, a little bit of music. You kind of get a taste for everything that we offer on base so that they know what they would like to apply to for next year, which would be our basic courses, which is a 3-week course that typically people 13 to 14 years old apply for. So we've got seamanship, where you learn how to tie knots. You learn seamanship, all about semaphore, which is flags. You have a lot of on-water time in whalers, which is this boat that's shown right here. Those are basic seamanship course cadets as well. We've got the music program. You can earn levels in music. You practice a lot. You learn military music drill. So if you have ever seen CFFs or Ceremony of the Flags, those band cadets there, they've all gone through the music program. We have drill and ceremonial, which I actually took when I was in basic. You learn how to teach drill, do all this sort of drill. You learn a lot of different ceremonies that we do, a lot of ceremonial drill that you also see in Ceremony of the Flags. We've got also sail. You sail a lot. You get a lot of sail levels. I never took that course personally. Then we move on to our 6-week courses. So the first 6-week courses we have are the intermediate courses. So we've got sail, which is just a 6-week course of sail. You learn a little bit more. You get a little more comfortable on the water. You can gain more levels. Music, you get more music levels, stuff like that. Ship's boat operator. I took ship's boat operator as well. You gain a bunch of boating licenses, so I now have my PCOC, my small power boating license, my radio license, and I have a whaler license, which is the boats that was on that picture earlier. Then we move on to our senior courses, which is our final 6-week course before the cadets can move on to a staff cadet position, which is what I'm in right now. We've got music, so it's just you earn higher levels, you work a little harder, you have more challenging music. Sail, you earn more levels, you spend more time on the water, it's a little bit more challenging. Drill and ceremonial instructor, I also took this course when I was a cadet. I'm still a cadet. When I was a course cadet. You learn a little bit more about instructing and leadership skills in this course. You do a lot more ceremonial stuff, like we are fully participating in Ceremony of the Flags in this, and it's part of our course to be part of the ceremony. We've got bosunmate, which we have the Orcas come in. They're a naval training vessel. The cadets get to spend 9 days every summer on these ships training in navigation skills. They get to drive the Orcas. They do rope handling, a whole bunch of seamanship. It's like a little taste of the naval life for them. Then we have Shipwright, which is a specialty course that's only offered in Quadra. They learn boat maintenance, so fiberglassing, the upkeep of that kind of stuff. So we actually have cadets from all over Canada come for this, so from the East Coast, from the territories, all that kind of stuff. It's a really interesting course to be part of. The trainees and staff cadets are a significant contributor to the local economy. Staff cadets, we get leave where we get to come into the town, we get to go shopping a little bit, we get to see what you guys have to offer. We have year-round employment and long-term contract employees. Active participant in nautical days, and we showcase the Ceremony of the Flags. We work all summer really hard to showcase the Ceremony of the Flags and have it prepared for you guys to see. We really enjoy being part of it. We do a significant purchasing of what we have on base from the local area. And one of our biggest things is we contribute to YANA every year. And we do this thing called YANA Days, where the staff cadets will pay $3 and officers will pay $5 to get to wear civilian clothes for the day. We also do auctions and stuff like that throughout the summer that the staff cadets are in charge of to raise money for YANA. Over the last 15 years, we've nearly donated $35,000 to this program. So for our open house that we're having on Saturday, August 12th, it's going to be from 1 to 4:30 p.m. It's going to start at 1:30 with the Ceremony of the Flags. We will also have a drill display from the drill and ceremonial instructors. We'll have seamanship displays from all of the seamanship courses. We'll have a confidence course display. The confidence course is it's like your traditional thing you see in all the military movies, but it's to build confidence, gain confidence, to build teamwork, all that kind of stuff. We've got the Shipwright display, so they'll show you a little bit more of what they get to do during the summer. We have a boat handling display, so that's going to be mostly towards the sailboats and the sailors, and you get to see what they do on the water and what they get to learn in regards to rigging the boats, line handling, all that kind of stuff. Then we'll have a marksmanship display, which will be held at our range. I've believe we'll be actually doing a summer biathlon that day, so you guys will get to see the cadets participate in a biathlon where they will run, they'll shoot, and they'll continue running. That's it for me. Did you guys have any questions about the program or anything for me?
Any questions from members of council? Councilman Kennedy.
So just a couple of things. First of all, compliment you on your public speaking.
Thank you.
We councillors like to speak a bit, and we could take some lessons in your diction and brevity. Very well spoken. Secondly, your point is not lost on me, and I'm sure the rest of council, about what the cadet program does for our local economy, both in people coming in and spending money, but also the creation of jobs. So thanks for that reminder. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't say your contributions to YANA, a local nonprofit, really are appreciated, and that's a wonderful gesture on all your behalf. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again for a very thorough presentation, and obviously you've answered any questions that we might have otherwise had.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will see you guys all on Friday.
Perfect.
To ride the boat to work. Thank you. All right, so next delegation is related to 2080 Beach Drive, Patrick Moore. You're here, sir. I assume perhaps just to answer any questions that council may have, or do you have a presentation?
Thanks, Mayor. I'd just like to say a few words.
Okay, if you can come to the podium, that'd be great, so we can get you on the camera.
Coming to explain a little bit about our project and why we would be pleased to have a couple of variances. It's also an opportunity to introduce ourselves to the community. We're thrilled to move our primary residence from Vancouver, after living there for many, many years, to Comox. And Eileen was born in Vancouver, but I was born at Winter Harbor on the other end of the road. So we've been coming through here for 45 years. And our kids grew up skiing on Mount Washington with us, and so we know this place. Eileen's sister's lived here for 15 years with her husband, now close by to the hospital nearby where we're building. So we're not strangers to the valley by any means. I have cousins here and best friends here, and my mom lives in Qualicum, so we're island people from the get-go. We're building at 2080 Beach Drive, which, as you may know, is on the other side of the public access and is the last lot on Beach Drive, and from all we can tell, always will be. It's a wonderful location, but it was a difficult project because there was a cliff there, and it was, up until it being geoengineered by the previous owner, unbuildable, which is why there's never been a house on it. And so we've had quite a challenge. We engaged 3 engineers on the project: structural, geotechnical, and sediment and erosion control. So there's lots of interaction, and we're getting to the point now where things are coalescing. You'll see we're requesting a variance in our setback to 5 meters, which is just a little less than the previous granting of a variance to the previous owner. Did receive variances but never went through to the building permit level. But unlike the previous owner, we have figured out how to design the house so that it meets the 9-meter height restriction by a few inches, even though it's a 3-story dwelling. And the necessity for that is because we have to park our cars on the first floor, as it's a postage stamp of a lot, which is fine with us. We don't want a big property. But there's no room for a standalone garage. So we have to use up well over half of the first floor for non-living space. We just love it here. We're also. It was such a treat to hear the Youth Achievement Awards and all of their accomplishments. It sounds like this community has a lot of people with skills and knowledge, and also to hear about Quadra, because we're temporarily renting the house at 45 Hawkins Road, right above the spit, so we see the action there every day, and all the traffic going by, and all the people out on their various water conveyances in front of us. So it was nice to hear a little more about that. So we're asking for the setback to be relaxed In fact, if we did still have the same property line that came with the property originally, because at the center of it, about 4 meters has been dedicated now to the public walkway, which was originally our property. So under the original size of the property, we would be back over 8 meters, which is well over the 7.5 meter setback that is stipulated in the rules. So just compared to what the lot was. I don't know how it works with other people who haven't given the right to the walkway. I don't understand that very well, but I do know that we are well back from any threat from the sea, especially seeing as though we have a more than 6-foot retaining wall, and it is back of our new property line as well. And so I think it is reasonable. It'd be pretty hard to build a decent structure there without having this kind of setback. Now the hot tub, I'm sure that's a very important matter to you all. But the truth, today, as I didn't know we were moving to the tropics when we decided to come here, but the hot tub actually, for many decades, has played an important role in our family as a place to have a quiet conversation and talk over family matters and to relax, etc. We actually have one in Winter Harbor as well that we use to our great enjoyment, and it's on the seaside too. The lot does not have any other reasonable location to put a hot tub. You could figure it out, but it wouldn't be an ideal situation. There is no one living in front of us. We're up high enough above the beach that we can easily, and of course want to, make it completely private. So no one would see us entering the hot tub area, leaving the hot tub area, or being in the hot tub. It would be necessary for us to peek up above the fencing around it to see across the bay, but people who are down on the beach could not see us even if we were looking across the bay. So I hope you will consider that favorably, as it will make it a much nicer layout for ourselves to live for many, many years here in Comox. Thank you very much.
All right, just before you go, if there's any questions from members of the council, perhaps?
Right, sorry.
Councilor.
Just a question to you there, guys. For some of the finer points, should we ask the planner when it comes up? Or?
Yes.
Okay, because I'm not sure where I should ask this one, but so the walkway in front of your place, like the dedicated walkway, which hopefully one day we get, but that would be then like between, or be along your fence and then a hot tub on the other side? Because from what I gather, the reason that there was that taken back years ago or previous to this was because the property was subdivided, and then when it's subdivided, then a piece of land goes to the town for a walkway. So I think that's the reason. But so if you were to get a hot tub, so the way I see it, a hot tub, a fence, and then a walkway just kind of right beside it.
The picture on page 144 probably shows it best.
I'm not sure how elevated they expect the public walkway to be. I doubt if it would be elevated to the level of our retaining wall.
You said your retaining wall is 6 meters?
More. It's like it's at least 9 feet above the high tide level, the retaining wall itself. But I would say that if the walkway is built, we would be very willing to agree to move the hot tub out of the front yard, because we wouldn't want it there if it was an interaction situation.
Yeah.
I mean, if there were people's heads going by our hot tub, we would figure out somewhere else to put it.
Because my thing is, like, want you to be comfortable, but also the public walking by feeling free that now they're, are they feeling that they're being an imposition to you, or they walk into somebody's front yard? So just some
if it could be written into your decision that if the public walkway is built, we will remove the hot tub from our frontage.
Okay, well, we can see where we get to on that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councilor Grant?
Yeah, I was kind of right on the same track with that, and my question was how high is your retaining wall compared to where the beach is? But The only other thing that I saw there was that it appears on your plan that it would be fairly simple to screen that off in some way so that people walking down wouldn't be looking right at you at the same time.
No one will ever see anyone enter, leave, or be in the hot tub. We'll make sure of that because we don't want to disturb people and we don't want them to disturb us.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that it's right on the end of that and to me, it makes sense.
Most people walk like out about 15 feet from our retaining wall because there's this huge riprap that I think the town must have put there because it goes in front of more than one property. So they're down even lower than the base of our,
Right.
but 3 feet at least lower than the base of our retaining wall. So I'd say they are 10 feet below
Right.
the retaining wall. So long as the public walkway is not there, there's absolutely no possibility of there being a negative interaction.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
And we will discuss this application later in the meeting.
I'm sorry, we can't stay for that because we have another event, a birthday dinner in which we are bringing a cake. All right? Cannot miss that part. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. All right, next delegation, Robin and Sean Honeychurch regarding 2079 Mackenzie Avenue. Again, are you here to present or just answer questions?
Just answer questions.
At this juncture, I'm not sure if the council has any questions regarding your application, which is on page 150. Any questions at this time? And this is for the coach house at that address, so we will, if there's no questions, we'll just move on and we'll discuss your application a little bit later. All right, so that completes the delegations. Then we'll move on to the next items on the agenda, which are minutes of meetings. So for approval, the regular council meeting minutes of July 5th.
Second.
On approval, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. And also for approval, the minutes of public hearing on July 5th.
Second.
On approval, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. And the special council meeting minutes of July 19th for approval.
Second.
On approval, all those in favor? Motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is for receiving the management report. On receipt then, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Any questions on the management reports?
I have some.
Go ahead.
3 questions in a request. Organics, the Northeast Stormwater Management, and map planning, are there any updates on any of those?
Leo.
We have met with a group of property owners earlier today on those that are interested in developing, and coupled with that as to how we get phase 3 report completed. So there is an action plan with their consulting engineer and our staff that we hope to move this project along within the next month, that something tangible will be coming forward to council in terms of hopefully the phase 3 report.
That's with respect to Northeast Commons.
Yes, Northeast Commons. And given that this is August, let's say 2 months before we actually get something done. The organics, we have spoken with a communications company that would work on the awareness piece for awareness and education for rollout in the beginning of October. At a staff level, we're also talking about, now that we have hired and she's commenced work, our engineering technologist, she'll be involved in that process as well, so that'll be part of the work.
And you're talking about the implementation of the Cycle BC?
Yes.
Is that what you're concerned?
Yeah, well, and we were going to alter the garbage schedule to accommodate more organics and so on.
Yeah, I'm not sure we'll be doing that as of October 1st, but we'll be looking at that probably for 2018.
Well, we're still talking about whether we can pull it off.
Right.
And the third item, sorry?
Map planning?
We've received correspondence back from our lawyer, and you will be getting a copy of that at our next meeting.
And if I could just say, One request, and I noticed in our annual report and so on, is one of the things that we keep struggling with is the wayfinding and signage. And I was wondering if we could or should put it on the management report.
Sure.
Just to keep it top of mind.
I would second that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shelley Russberg and Al Fraser are working on that.
Yes, I know
And
they are.
They've done some preliminary work, so yes, we can add it to the management report.
Well, presumably we'll be taking the traffic calming off after this meeting, so we can add that on the next place.
Sure.
Unless there's something specific that comes out of that. Right? Councillor Grant?
I just had one question regarding northeast, well, it's not really stormers. Are there any sewer issues down there with regards to development?
Sanitary sewer?
Yes. Nothing that you're aware
Not
of?
to my knowledge. That was a lot of that was addressed when council extended the sanitary sewer line. It currently terminates right in the intersection of Pritchard and Knight. So that brought it close enough for development.
Okay, I had a question for
Director
your
of Finance, should we
telling me that there was an issue, right, that he thought there was an issue there.
The Knight Road sewer goes as far west, about halfway between the traffic circle and Hudson Road, okay, and then it ends. And if you're driving down Knight Road, there's one last manhole right in the middle of the road. That's where the sewer ends. Now that system has been transferred to the regional district. It has capacity to service all of the development in Comox in that area. There is one issue, small one, that needs to be resolved, and that's how we apportion flows coming out of that line, because that's going to be a gravity-fed line that receives sewage from both Courtney and Comox at multiple collection points. And so that's an issue the regional district is going to have to bring a report forward on. But in terms of the trunk itself, it has more than adequate capacity to service all the development we would anticipate in Comox.
So perhaps they'll put a flow meter.
Well, there is a flume measuring the Comox flows, but it's located east of the airport, near the entrance to Glacier Greens. And the problem is that it's almost a full kilometer to the two customers that we have that are using that line. So whether or not any of their sewage actually gets that far, we don't know.
Okay. All right, thank you. No, I had a question from somebody and it didn't sound clear. I wanted to check that. Thank you.
Councillor McKenna?
It's just a clarification question to management about the water park opening. I've been asked this by many people, will it be operational after the ribbon cutting or during Nautical Days weekend? When can it be used is basically the question.
Soon.
Well, the official grand opening will be on Monday. Let's consider it a soft opening. With the playground, we are planning to open the playground Friday. And following that on Saturday morning, I think it's 10 a.m., we would open the splash park.
Saturday morning. Thank you.
Considering we're not on water restrictions.
So with that in mind, item 2 of the management report can be taken off as well for the next meeting. So not too often add one on. Correct. Yes.
Yeah, so with that bundled into the waterfront stuff, we are this fall going to have something in line with food vendors and procedures and so on. Because I've received calls from other people asking about this, and so I've just kind of steered them to you. But, so that'll be something that we'll be getting this fall.
Yeah, we are actively working on it right now. Shelley Russberg's on vacation.
Yeah, no, I
now,
understand,
but it is actively being worked on.
Anything else under the management report? Seeing none, we'll move on to the annual report, and this was received at the last regular council meeting, and it's now before you for approval.
Move approval.
Second that.
On approval then, any questions? All those in, go ahead.
I just, there is that on page 39 of the report, the business with the Hector Road, that's just a typo thing that needs to be fixed.
Sorry?
Under current and updated studies where it's crossed out.
Oh, yeah, I don't know where that's in.
Page
59, there's a complete hectare
Yeah.
road boundary, and then it says northeast Comox Stone, I don't know what that's, but that was fixed already, but it's
And then just a question I'm curious about. What's the status of the water or the floodplain worage? Is there any news there?
no news, you mean in terms of anything new?
Well,
Full play?
one of the things is working with stakeholders to,
You're talking about under the strat plan.
yeah, page 40, yeah.
There's been no further developments in that regard. I know that there's been various inquiries over time, but they're operating where they currently are. No other plans at the moment.
I think we're kind of landlocked in there, so to speak. Like, you know, we have.
There's been discussions with the Harbor Authority, there's been discussions with the town. You know, it works. It's not the best situation for them, but it works.
Yeah.
And it works, I guess, on a seasonal basis. So short of any changes there, that's kind of where it's at. Anything else on the annual report? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion's approved.
Oh, a nice picture of the Christmas tree too. Yes, I agree with that.
All right, so
Actually, Suzanne did.
moving on to the rezoning application for 2270 Mackenzie Avenue, and that's, I believe, for Coach House. We're asking the council to consider third reading.
I'll move that.
Any further discussions at this point in time? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried.
And I'll move adoption.
Canada.
Oh,
We had the change to the agenda.
oh, of course.
Take out adoption. I think there was still some outstanding items. So it'll come back to us when that's complete.
We won't do that.
We have an outstanding request, as you may recall, the last council meeting, I believe it was, we had the request from Comox First Nation for funding and support for the event which is happening today. The only information I have to update you with on is, of course, it is happening, and that there has been some community support. I know through the Rotary clubs have provided some financial support and other assistance. You know, it's incumbent, I suppose, on us to consider our grants and aid policy, and you know, given the fact that we have we don't really have a budget per se for this, and we don't know how much they've received, it might be difficult for us to support any financial request at this time. So it's up to council, obviously, to decide. That's the information I have.
I've got the old agenda, so I don't know, so could we just receive this?
Well, it's already been received. It's just a question of whether council wants to take any further action in this regard. We would need a motion to do something else other than receive budget. So,
Well, how about if we put the onus back on them if they need after the event is over, that perhaps they could come to council if there was something more they needed, or maybe they were able to get enough grants as it is, and
yeah, I don't have any idea at this moment.
Yeah.
I imagine they will let us know if they do run into shortfalls. But
yeah.
uh,
Just leave it at that.
We have absolutely no information, though, about budget or anything.
all we got was they were looking for money.
Yeah.
And they did get, I know, through Rotary, Rotary clubs that I'm involved
Yes.
with, you get some funding.
And
some
CRD.
assistance. And we got some money, so it's right, 11,000 from the CRD. So,
I believe Investors Group.
yeah. There was some corporate
So they
sponsorship.
did get some money from
And it's happening, so obviously they've dealt with that. And I suppose if they run into shortfalls, they'll know it's not.
Yeah.
And Courtney did provide them use of the rec facilities for the showers and bathroom purposes, and of course we couldn't because of
I understand the regional district provided some funds.
11,000, yes, through the heritage fund that the rural areas have.
Yeah, they have a fund for that exact kind of thing, so.
Yeah. All right, well, if there's nothing else, we'll move on. On that item, there is no special reports for consideration for adoption is the financial plan amendment bylaw.
Move adoption.
Second.
And just refresh me what that's for again, CEO.
This is, excuse me, for the funds we received from the sewer calibration and transfer of that road sewer.
Thank you. So anything else on that? All those in favor? Motion's carried. And let's see where we are. Okay, now new business, under that we have the 2017 PILT payment for CFP Comox. Staff are recommending receipt of their letter and acceptance of the payments.
I move that.
Yeah, I'll second.
Anything further on that? It's at page 108. Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried. All right, now we're going to have a presentation, I believe, on traffic calming. So we'll turn it over to our planning departments. Perhaps a motion to receive the report.
Move receipt.
Second.
Receive then, all those in favor? Motion is carried, and we'll deal with the other ones as we go along. Okay, you have the floor.
Thank you. We'll be presenting a presentation in two parts. First will be Nicole Yang, who's our student planning technician, currently finishing up her degree in planning through the University of Waterloo's co-op program. So she'll be talking about the overview of the specific traffic calming features, and then I'll be talking a little bit more on the policy drawing end of it afterwards. So with that, I'll turn over to Nicole.
Thank you, Marvin. Thank you, Council, for having me here today. I'm pleased to share my findings from my preliminary report. My presentation is in two parts. The first part, I'll define what traffic calming is, and second, I'll provide a broad overview of the traffic calming measures. I'll be discussing about 10 today, and I'll provide a description of each measure as well as a highlight of key pros and cons for each measure. Traffic calming is defined as a traffic management strategy that reduces vehicle speed and or volumes on a single street or street network, using design measures to improve motorist and non-motorist safety, mobility, and comfort. By reducing vehicle speeds and volumes, there are some inherent trade-offs to this. Most notably, it's increased travel times and decreasing road capacity. It's also important to note that different measures have different impacts. So some measures are more effective in addressing speed or volume, and others are more effective in encouraging alternative modes of transportation, such as biking. Successful implementation of traffic calming measures requires a highly contextual lens, site-specific considerations lend themselves, opportunities, and constraints. Successful traffic calming supports the existing designed and intended roadway functions, so providing access and facilitating traffic movement on roadways. And to this, we look at road classifications to determine their design capacity. As such, road classifications are a key consideration in determining which traffic calming measure is appropriate for a site. Currently in the town, we have 4 road classifications: arterial, major and minor, collector, as well as local. The highest capacity we're seeing above 12,000 vehicles per day, such as on Anderton Road, and on local neighborhood streets, we're seeing less than 1,000 vehicles per day, such as Stewart Street. Most traffic calming measures are not actually appropriate for arterial roads, and you'll see some of them as I provide the overview. So let's dive into the traffic calming measures themselves. The ones described in this presentation are of the most relevance to the town. Some are already in practice, and the costs provided are approximations and for retrofits. We'll first start with bulb outs, also called curb extensions. And these are expanded areas of curbing that extend across a parking lane and may narrow a travel lane at an intersection or at mid-block, as shown on the plan diagrams here. The retrofit cost for bulb outs are approximately $50,000 to $100,000, and these are most suitable for collector and local roads. So as you can see in this picture, the intersection doesn't have 4 bulb outs at all points of the street. We see one closest to us, and further away near the trees, those are at mid-block. We actually have bulb outs here in the town as well, along Comox Avenue by Church Street and Port Augusta Street. At a glance, some of the benefits include reducing vehicle speed. Bulb outs reduce speed by about 2 to 3 kilometers per hour. It also improves pedestrian safety by reducing the pedestrian crossing distance. It prevents illegal parking at intersections. It actually protects the on-street parking spaces. And there's an opportunity to enhance the aesthetics of the area through landscaping and textured pavement. On the flip side, some of the disadvantages of bulb outs are reducing on-street parking. So like I mentioned, because you're protecting the on-street parking, you actually have to take one away near the intersection. And because you're reducing the travel lane, it's difficult to accommodate full bicycle lanes, especially at these intersections. Drainage may also be a concern. If poorly designed, ponding will occur on the sidewalks, so we have to watch out for that as well. Next, we have on-street parking. We clearly have this in the town already. You're reducing the effective usable roadway width using parked cars on both sides of the road. The retrofit cost for this is about $1,000 to $5,000, and it's suitable for all classifications of the road, arterial, collector, and local. As you can see in this picture here, the road may not be fully parked out, and this is an important thing to watch out for. So if the road is not reduced to less than 9 meters of the usable space, it's not likely to actually reduce the vehicle speed. One of the benefits of on-street parking is it provides a physical buffer between pedestrians and vehicles, so it's safer for pedestrians on the sidewalks. And vice versa, it actually reduces the visibility of pedestrians on the sidewalks, and it increases risks of cyclists getting hit by suddenly open car doors. Raised Median Islands, also known as pedestrian refuge. We also have this in the town as well. Shown here is on Robb and Anderton. These are narrow islands at mid-block or intersection between travel lanes, and it provides breaks in the medians, either which are landscapes or hard surfaces, and it allows pedestrians to cross the street halfway at a time. The benefits, again, reduces vehicle speed. It prevents vehicles from passing each other because there's a physical barrier in the middle. As I mentioned earlier, it enhances pedestrian safety because it allows them more time to cross the street. And when placed on curves, it prevents vehicles from swinging at excessive speeds. Like the other measures mentioned before, it may require removal of one on-street parking space, and it kind of inconveniences residents as it may restrict access to their driveways.
So that's similar to the one that's at Robb Road.
Yes, yeah. It's on the way to the rec center.
Yep.
Okay. Speed humps, speed cushions, and speed tables. These are the most well-known traffic calming measures. So pictured here are the humps, the cushions, and the tables. They're all essentially variations of raised humps in a roadway. So we'll start with humps. They're about 4 times longer than your speed bumps, which are the ones we have at the Comox Mall. Speed cushions have spaces in between them, and they're placed in a series, and the spaces allow emergency vehicles to pass through them without slowing down. And lastly, we have tables, which are basically humps with ramps on either side, so it's a more gradual progression of vehicles passing through. The retrofit costs are on the more inexpensive side. We have speed humps at $1,000 to $5,000 and speed tables $5,000 to $10,000. And they're all suitable for local streets. For collectors, only speed cushions and speed tables are appropriate. So I mentioned that they're all at various lengths, but to visualize this, speed bump is the smallest, speed hump, and then speed cushion, and finally we have speed table. They're all around 7 to 10 centimeters high. And of course, with increasing length, we have increasing costs. And your metric. So pictured here are the humps, cushions, and table again. It reduces vehicle speed. The design speed for the majority of these measures are about 30 to 40 kilometers per hour, so you're essentially decreasing it by 10 kilometers per hour. All of them impede emergency service vehicles except for the cushion. And upon research, it was actually revealed that speed tables are the least effective in decreasing vehicle speed and volume. All 3 of these measures involve increased time and cost for snow removal because you need special equipment and training to adjust to these changes. These present drainage issues as well. You were looking at drainage devices installed on the uphill side of these measures. And speed humps in particular present a noise nuisance. As drivers accelerate and decelerate in between the speed humps, you're going to get some noise complaints from the residents. Next, we have raised crosswalks. So these are actually the same profile as speed tables. The only main distinction is that they have marked pedestrian crossings, and they're elevated above street grade, and most of the times they're at level with curbs. And these can be implemented intersection or mid-block. They're appropriate on collector roads as well as local roads. So here we see in this picture a raised crosswalk as well as a raised median with pedestrian refuge. And these reduce vehicle volume by about 20 to 40%, and reduce vehicle speed by 10 to 20 kilometers per hour. Again, it enhances pedestrian safety as you're lifting their visibility so drivers can see them easier. They delay emergency service vehicles by about 10 seconds, and they have the potential to divert traffic to surrounding roads. Like their other counterparts, they have increased time and cost for snow removal and drainage concerns. Traffic circle. I believe we installed this recently in the town.
It's not that.
No, roundabouts, sorry. So these are smaller versions of roundabouts. They're in the middle of an intersection, and they require vehicles to drive on the right side, counterclockwise. The main distinctions between a traffic circle and a roundabout is that roundabouts are larger. Roundabouts also have yield controls at all entries, and they restrict pedestrian access behind these yield signs. So you can say that roundabouts don't prioritize pedestrians as much as traffic circles do. Traffic circles are most effective when implemented in a series. They reduce vehicle speed and volume by about 30%. They reduce conflict points by 82%, so that's a very high success rate. And like the other ones, again, you have landscaping opportunities and textured pavement implementation to improve the aesthetics in the area. You may need to remove an on-street parking space. It restricts access to driveways, and it delays emergency service vehicles again by about 3 to 6 seconds. Semi-diverters, they're also called directional closures. You're essentially creating a one-way street with just blocking off one roadway. So it's kind of a physical fix. So they reduce vehicle speed and volume. I'm going to repeat that a lot. By about 40%. And one of the advantages of the semi-diverter is that they still permit bicycle and pedestrian access while preventing vehicles from passing through. Oftentimes, these diverters, they're decorated with bollards and planters. They are likely to divert traffic to surrounding roads. You're losing one parking space again. One of the distinguishing factors is at night, people probably will ignore them, and on low volume streets as well. And like the raised median island, they restrict resident access again. Diverter, also called the diagonal diverter. So unlike the semi-diverter, this prevents all access, both directions. So the physical barriers placed in the intersection diagonally to create two unconnected intersections. So as shown in this diagram here, pedestrians and bicyclists can still pass through if it's designed that way. And these are, because of their size, they're more expensive than their semi-diverter counterparts. They're about $50,000 to $100,000 for retrofits, and they're only appropriate for local streets. So diverters are less effective than semi-diverters in controlling volume and vehicle speed, but they're certainly better than full street closures in facilitating traffic circulation. And again, there's an opportunity for improving aesthetics through landscaping. They delayed emergency service vehicles by about 5 seconds, again, diverting traffic to neighborhood roads, and it inconveniences residents from direct access to their homes. Right in and right out islands. We can see these on Cliff Avenue in Courtney on the way on the 19th A highway. These are raised islands that prevent left turns and through movements from side streets and intersections with major streets. And these are appropriate on all classifications of roads. So on right-in islands, there's a chance to provide pedestrian refuge, as shown in this picture here. There's little or no impact on vehicle speed, as that's not their main function. The main function is to impede through traffic. And again, you might diverge traffic to surrounding roads. This is the last measure that I'll be describing, and this is street closure. You're creating a physical barrier to block off the entire street. And there's a number of ways to do this. You can pop down a hard surface barrier or a landscaped barrier. And you're looking at about $50,000 to $100,000 for this installation, and it's only suitable for local roads. The upsides of street closures are they eliminate cut-through traffic entirely by about 80%. You reduce vehicle speeds, again, about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. You can enhance the aesthetics, like the picture shown here. You can put planters in, or the physical block, like I mentioned earlier. It may obstruct emergency service vehicles unless you create a traversable barrier. It restricts residents from accessing their homes again, and lastly, divert traffic to surrounding neighborhood roadways. So when used effectively, traffic calming supports the livability and vitality of residential and commercial areas. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. It really depends on the site, and because of the uniqueness of that, you can combine a number of measures to install to achieve your desired goal. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nicole, for a very thorough report. Any questions from members of council? Go ahead.
Yeah, and a very good report, and I think you covered everything. Just to clarify, the cushion, what's it called? Where the
Speed cushion?
Yeah, speed cushion. There's a break in it so that the vehicles at a certain width don't have to go over it.
Right. So the space allows emergency service vehicles, not your normal standard car. But there's no guarantee that because these spaces are there, that the emergency service vehicles can pass without, hitting the device each time. But that's the design intent.
And are there any standards too, if you were going to have more than one, whether it's a cushion or a speed bump? Because I think it's a different scenario if you've got a long straight street, people tend to drive faster than if it's curved. Is there any standards on that?
Yes. So for straight roads, it's about, there's recommended prescribed measurements. It's about 20 meters spaced out speed humps. Any less than that, you wouldn't achieve the goal of slowing down vehicles at all. Yeah.
So you have them?
Yeah, there's standards to follow for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Seeing no other questions, we do have a couple of recommendations further. That staff prepare a traffic calming policy for existing neighborhoods that will include criteria for traffic calming. Does anyone wish to move that? Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion's carried. And next, that staff collect data on the Ellis Street to quantify and identify issues and provide recommended solutions if warranted in relation to Ellis and Beaufort.
Move that.
Discussion, all those in favor? Motion's carried. All right, so those things will come forward to us in due course. We are now on the agenda at the development variance permit application for 2080 Beach Drive. Received the presentation earlier, and staff are recommending two things. One, that the development variance permit be granted to reduce the required front setback from 7.5 meters to 5 meters. That it be issued subject to the conditions listed in the report.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that this time? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Now, with respect to the hot tub, there's a staff recommendation. However, if council wishes to allow for that to occur, there is optional recommendations or language on page 136. So that would be to allow it within the front yard, one of the conditions listed in the report, and that no swimming pools, including hot tubs, shall be located within 1.5 meters of any lot line.
I move that we follow the planner's recommendation.
That we not allow it?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so that's as per the agenda. That is, yeah, so the development variance permit DB 17.3 to permit a hot tub within the required front setback be denied. So there's been moved and second discussion. All right, that's going to generate some discussion. We'll go.
Want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay, I really don't see any problem with this at all, to be honest with you. I think it's at the very end of the street. There'll be a minor walkway there. I don't think there's anything we can do to have him take it out if there's a problem. I don't know if there's any wording that we could do around what he had recommended, but I honestly don't see any problem with this, especially since the hot tub is going to be so far below. And I think it would just add to the enjoyment of their home for them. So I will not vote to deny.
Okay. Councillor Swift, and then we'll get around and back to you.
I agree. I don't see any reason to really be too troubled about a hot tub being there. And I think I would like to support the notion that we allow that.
Okay.
Again, I can't see the problem, and as the gentleman pointed out, they will also wish it to be screened to have their own privacy there. So I won't support this motion.
Are you speaking to it?
Yes, I am, and I'm agreeing because it obviously is being well addressed.
My questions for the planner, but my impression was, listening to the speaker, was that some of this information was new. Was there any of the information this gentleman said this evening that was new to our planner, new on the table?
No.
The heights and the willingness to write anything to change if there's a problem and all this?
The willingness to make a change was not discussed, but in terms of the redesign, there was a preliminary design, and the redesign is the one that you have in your package. So that was, we were fully aware of that.
So the heights mentioned by him today were the same as the heights presented to planning?
The latest version, yes, he meets, he would meet the R 1.1 zone standard maximum height of 9 meters. No variance required.
All right, Councillor Arnott, back to you.
Yeah, the reason that I'm supporting the planner's recommendation is that I think it's important to look ahead. And looking at the map, it does look like that the retaining wall is quite a bit higher than the shoreline. But we've all agreed that over time we'd like to see waterfront walkways, and I don't see this fitting into that field. I can see a waterfront walkway in that area being built up, and in fact then they would be peering over the fence and seeing each other as they walk by. And because if global warming is true, and today I think it sure is, waters are going to be coming up a little bit higher, and we're going to have a walkway a little bit higher. Yes, this is down the road, but I think that's what we're here for, is to think down the road, and taking the planner's professional advice on that. So.
Okay. Anything further in this meeting?
Yeah. Okay. Is there any way that we could require some screening on this, just to further ensure that it would be more private?
Planner, that's over to you.
That starts to get to be very difficult because, as he said, he wants to screen it, but he wants to have it such that he can look over the screen. It would be much easier to make it conditional, if you wished, on a covenant saying that at the time that a waterfront walkway is constructed, that the tub be removed, be moved back to be a 5-meter setback, which is what he offered. That at least is determinable, but the screened height would be very difficult.
Can we make that an amendment to?
Yeah, we have other questions here.
Well, I guess, he mentioned it in his presentation that he wants the privacy from the walkway just as much as the walkway people want privacy. And Having been, I know we can't require it, but having been a hot tub owner for many years, most of it takes place in the evening anyway.
Anything
people want.
Anything new on the recommendation to deny? So the recommendation is to deny. If that's defeated, then the recommendation to perhaps grant the permission could be possibly amended. So we need to deal with this one first unless there's any, can't really amend it in that.
That's why you're mayor.
Yeah.
That's
So,
why you get to be
are you ready for the question?
Yeah.
All those in favor of denial? And those opposed? The motion is defeated. So, then we come back to the recommended language, perhaps with a modification. We can certainly add that language in.
Well, I would move the recommended language. I've got it on page 133, but I think it's a different page.
Yeah, that's fine. So the language is that Schedule 1 DEP conditions be amended to include the following: no swimming pools and hot tubs shall be located within 1.5 meters of any lot line, and that secondly, the DEP 17.3 be to permit a hot tub within a required front setback be issued subject to the conditions listed in Schedule 1, and if you wish, I guess the conditions, if you wanted to add conditions, would be the covenant, correct?
I'm not super concerned about the covenant.
Well, that's up to you guys.
If other people think it's important, somebody else can do that. I don't.
So you're going to move the
I'm just going to move the two as they are again.
Okay, so that's been moved. Is there a second?
That's good.
Okay, so now that's on the floor for discussion, those two recommendations together. Yep.
At this point, can I make a friendly amendment to that, to add the covenant?
It would be an amendment, so that would have to be moved and seconded.
Yeah, so I'd make that covenant. He suggested it, it was his...
I don't know if he suggested a covenant per se, but he certainly suggested he might do something.
Right.
I would second that.
All right, so the motion, the amendment is to include in the conditions, the covenant to do what? What is the covenant going to say?
Upon such time as the walkway is constructed, that the hot tub be relocated to a minimum 5 meters setback from the south property line.
Okay, so that's what the covenant would say, yes.
Okay, so my only question is, like, let's say that he builds this thing, they don't raise the walkway up, it's all good. We're going to make him move the hot tub just because we put a walkway in. That doesn't make sense to me if it's not a problem. Is there any way around that piece?
Well, then you get into heights of walkway.
That's why I didn't put it in the first place, right?
Yes,
Go ahead, planner.
all covenants are enforceable at discretion.
No, I know, but the terms of it would be simply that a walkway gets constructed. It doesn't relate to how high the walkway is.
No, because we would have no knowledge of this stuff.
Okay, but you could say, at the time, go down there and say, well, it looks fine to me, just leave it there, or how would that play out?
As I said, it's a discretion.
The covenant would be,
You
the
got
covenant would
discretion?
be, enforced at the discretion of council once it's written.
Well, I'm not in favor of the covenant simply because you're just going to be moving this hot tub a number of meters back. You're not going to gain much else.
Well, all right, so anybody else on this side speak to the amendment? Back to you.
Yeah, we're already giving a variance to the front setback. So, we're giving them a variance for that, and then we're allowing a hot tub right up close. I think just a little bit of give and take here.
And this is this gentleman's suggestion.
Yeah, although, again, I'll point out he wasn't talking about a covenant. He was talking about a voluntary thing. I'll just speak to it briefly. I think putting a covenant on title to this effect is a bit overkill, to say the least, for this kind of thing. I think that common sense should prevail on this. If a hot tub and people walking by become an issue, whoever is the owner at the time will sort that out. So I have no problem. This is a very unique lot. I think perfectly fine with the design that he's got here to put a hot tub there. And the provisions of the bylaw are such that you don't want people putting hot tubs in front yards on standard streets. This is a hot tub on the front yard, which is the only yard he has, which is really the waterfront. Yes, at some point there may be a walkway there, but we don't know what that's going to look like. And to put a covenant on there and to then put that onus on town to try to enforce that or not enforce it, I don't know. Again, I think it's overkill. It's just going to clutter up title and let the guy build his house. He's worked hard on it. That's my 2 cents worth.
So if we put the covenant on, would we not be eliminating that person coming to council again in the future, since he suggested it and agreed upon it?
You wouldn't have, it'd be up to him to sort out. You wouldn't have to come to council. We're allowing him to put a hot tub. If the walkway goes in, he deals with it. Anyway, that's on the amendment. Are you ready for the question on the amendments?
Can we have the question again?
The question is to add a condition to the variance permit that would require that the hot tub be relocated 5 meter setback from the walkway when it is built.
We're simply voting on the amendment.
At this moment, yes. Those in favor of the amendment? Those opposed? I'm opposed. Amendment's defeated. So we're back to the recommendations to allow the hot tub, and you ready for that question? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? 2, 3 opposed. Motion, I'm in favor. Motion is carried. All right. So that
And I
is.
hope you invite us.
I don't want to see you in a bathing suit.
You on earth would want a hot tub today?
Didn't I tell you you'll have to wear bathing suits for the opening of the water park?
Yeah.
I got my Borat fitting.
Yeah, no good.
Okay, so we're now moving on to the rezoning application for 2079 Mackenzie, which is the coach house. So this juncture, we're being asked to get first and second reading.
I'll move that.
All those in favor? Motion is carried. And that in accordance with the Urban Act, the requirement to hold a public hearing be waived, and staff be instructed to publish the required notices as required by the Act.
Move.
So just to comment on that, that says in light of recent discussions around coach houses, and we're not receiving too much feedback from neighbors on these, so they'll waive the public hearing is the next step. So all those in favor? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm in favor of that. I just wanted to ask a question on that, but I can do it after this.
Go ahead now.
I was just wondering, are we heading in the direction now where we would start to not do the public hearings?
Well, this is to waive them.
Right.
But we would still have the option to require them
If
we're receiving perhaps lots of
Right,
public
okay.
feedback.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
At some point in the future, if we amend, what is it, the OCP, we'd have to amend the OCP to get rid of it.
Okay, gotcha.
Your worship, just so it's clear to everyone, then when would the opportunity for public input happen?
Well, there'll be a notice in the paper, and people are certainly free to provide submissions up until such time as it is adopted.
And then that input would be brought to council?
Would be brought to staff, and staff would put it on, when we get most things circulated. It depends who's addressed to.
They can also speak for council.
The notice would say that council would have written submissions, and they can also request to appear as a delegation. They have to sign up, of course, the Thursday before. So there still is an allowance in the notice for people who wish to make a comment to council. It's just that a formal public hearing set time is not set aside.
Yes, I asked the question, of course, because of optics, and we want people to believe that they still have some public.
Yeah, it's all in accordance with the Act, so we're just waiving the requirement for a separate meeting. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion's carried. And for receipt, we have the second quarter financial statement.
Move receipt.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion's carried. Request for budget increase for Knight Road Harboring project.
Second.
Increased by 16,000 to 211,000. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion's carried. Homeowner grant deferral stats. Received the staff report.
Move receipt.
Second.
Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried. Moves us to correspondence. We have it's an email from Levex regarding the marina ramp.
Move receipt.
Receive.
Second.
And on receipt, all those in favor? Motion is carried. And comments?
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed for a long time down at the boat ramp is the need for a proper staging area. I'm wondering if the CAO can fill us in. Is that in a plan somewhere? I've heard it off and on where, so right now the boat ramp, you have the wooden dock that runs parallel to it. I know there has been discussions very loose where it would turn to the right and go along that bank. I think that would help in boats coming and going, people could hold off there where somebody else is.
I think we've discussed it. My
Yeah.
knowledge is that it's outside our water lot.
Yeah, it may require some cooperation from the Comox Bay Marina. But at this time, we don't have any active plans. We're still debating how it could best work with the tides in particular, and there may be some work we have to do in advance related to the riprap along that line first.
Yeah.
So that would be the first step we would do, and then consider something like that.
Yeah, because it'd be nice to have in the back of our mind when we do the riprap work and extend that to the right, make that an L.
That's Bryce.
Yes, they had some good suggestions in here, so I'm just wondering what we'll do with this letter. Would it be directed to staff to see what's feasible? I mean, the Marshall idea sounds great, but it's probably some costs associated, but maybe at peak times. I'm not a boat owner myself, but I do gather that it can get pretty hot and heavy down there, and it's only going to get busier.
This is not a new issue. This comes up almost annually. We even had people say, "Oh, well, you shouldn't close the boat ramp during nautical days, so you can allow us to be down there." It's a challenge, and to hire or pay for the cost of somebody to basically be a marshal down there is going to add to our budget, and I think people, by and large, across the whole Pacific Coast here and boat ramp, public boat ramps have to just kind of manage it themselves. Common courtesy hopefully does prevail. I think that the points made are good ones, but there's only so much we can do, I think, within reason.
Yeah, I think one of the big problems that I see coming, I mean, we've created a really great park, and I can notice how much busier it is, and I think with the pent-up demand of kids for the water park, that parking is going to start to become a bigger issue down there. And I don't know what the solution to that is, to be honest with you. I know there's some possibilities of certain things here and there, but just something that I think we need to address in future phases of our marina enhancement plan is how we're going to figure that piece out. I don't know what the answers are, but I know it's already becoming...
Well, somebody once came to us and said, raise the park and put parking underneath it.
Yeah, yes.
Nothing that, $10 million.
No. A village 14, yeah.
So, I mean, there's going to be issues there. Again, for anybody launching a boat, I think they're hopefully wise to the situation down there, especially this time of year. They get in early and they get out late. So it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So, beyond that, I don't see anything else.
No, the letter has been passed on to staff for their consideration and some of the ideas that have been put in there. Generally, when I've been down there, we're witnessing the busy periods. People are generally quite helpful. If somebody is launching or retrieving the boat on their own, others will assist just in order to clear their boat out of the way so it speeds up the process. Now, that's the general approach. Now, there are moments that things get heated, but by and large, it works. It works because people understand that if you work together, everybody can get what they want. So, the letter has been passed on.
Thank you. And signage. I mean, what they were suggesting to go to local media seemed like a good point, but I guess putting signage up to say, do this, signage doesn't have that.
Don't get mad.
That'll do it. Yes. Take off.
All right, the other item of correspondence, actually two left, including the late one, is a letter from Wendy Crawford, just thanking everyone for being involved with the piano installations.
Second.
All those in favor?
I think it was nice of Councillor McKinnon to volunteer to play the piano when we do the thing.
Oh, how nice.
They have a repertoire of 3 songs.
That's 3 more than I got.
The next item is the late item, and this is just a letter received yesterday through the effect of UBCM. And as of tomorrow, there will be an opportunity that if the council wishes to meet with the Premier or any cabinet minister during this year's convention, we go through a process of requesting those. And in the past number of UBCMs, we have requested meetings with the Minister of Health, around St. Joe's. The Minister of Aboriginal Affairs around our ongoing relationship with KFN. Last year we met with the Minister of Technology and Innovation around the tech sector. And of course, the Minister of Transportation around some of the issues that we're looking at in the Comox Valley generally, but also Comox around cycling infrastructure and things like that. And they're generally, 15-minute meetings, speed dating type meetings where you have to have a very specific request to have the most effect. And, I think the Aboriginal Affairs one we just kind of kept going to on an ongoing basis just to follow up on our MOU. So there may be issues there that Council would like us, like we're just going to UBCM to address with specific ministers. That's just some examples. There may be others that we think would be important. There are some different ministries now, but by and large, they are similar. Yep.
Would it make sense, and perhaps this is a regional district thing, to go and see them about funding for some of the major infrastructure projects that are going on? Some of them do relate to us, and I'm not sure if it's us that should.
Well, I know that the regional board also gets, the regional district chair will get this letter, so that might be something for you to discuss with at your next party.
Yeah. Is there a point to us going as well? Or would that?
No, I think, for example, water treatment would be one that you'd want to go to, have a meeting about for sure. Maybe sewer as well. But those could be dealt with at the regional district level, and then whoever's on the regional district can attend. Or if they're going to UBCM, I, for example, did sit on one that a couple of years ago that they had organized with the Minister of Transportation. And I didn't know, we didn't have a meeting, but I just joined them and said, okay, well, I'll talk about a few things in Point Homes. And that kind of led to some of that money at the Point Homes boat ramp.
Right.
So it was useful to do that. Okay. So I just kind of tagged on.
Okay.
Is there any other area, Richard, you might think of that it could be beneficial for us to take early steps in planting the seed with the new government?
None come to mind at the moment, but as issues arise, we'll consider those. Let's see if there's.
I think one of the issues, for example, we discussed with the Minister of Health at the time was concerns that St. Joe's had raised regarding demolition costs and how they were going to tackle that. And I'm not sure where that's at. I could follow up with the chair of St. Joe's and see where they're at. I think they've got some allowances for that now. And there may be other things there they want us to address. There's nothing really ongoing in terms of the MOU with First Nations. We continue to work with them as need be. I don't think necessarily we need to meet with the minister there. So there wasn't any. I was thinking, I think we're going to try to get a meeting with BC Hydro staff and talk about more funding for underground service installations as we keep carrying on with our downtown revitalization. And in the past, we've met with staff of community services around boundary extensions, but we don't have any active applications other than the one we got approved already. Correct. So unless there's something jumping forward, I guess we'll just follow up at a staff level here and see if St. Joe's has any concerns they want us to address. All right. With that, I think we're at reports from members of council, so we each get 5 seconds to make that long. Or you can waive it.
I will go first. It's really hot in here, so I have nothing to read.
Councilor Arnott.
Yeah, I'll second that. Nothing to report.
Councilor Swift, anything?
Just fruition of 2 projects. One was the community pianos coming together, and the same day was the day that the total came down at Gilbert Park. It's now resting in the ravine, as you probably saw in the newspaper, and which tells the story there. Also, just a reminder to come to the Gilbert Festival starting on Friday.
I got tickets for the big concert. That's going to be good. Councillor Price.
Yes, and I did see the totem, and it does actually look magnificent where it is. It's a very good choice of location.
It's hot in here, right?
The final journey this morning down the Spit, I went along with okay, you know what it is. The Regional District Board, along with Ken, Comox Archives and Museum Society, UBCM executive meeting, and Music Fest.
Awesome.
Jim Short Snappers, I represented council at the Comox Valley Art Gallery show opening. Attended an exploratory meeting for the concept of Shakespeare in the Park along with Councillor Swift. An interesting idea. And finally, we supported the Sid Williams Theatre and attended the CYMC solid musical there, Catch Me If You Can. And how lucky we are to have that in our community, CYMC.
Great.
That's my report.
Councillor Grant.
I'll make it quick too. Attended the open house, 2310 Guthrie, which is quite interesting. Tour of the solid waste. New cell is ready and waiting for our garbage, and the leachate treatment service. Also, although I had nothing to do with it, I keep meaning to comment on our resting area at the corner of Beaufort and... Yes, it's lovely. So, I'll sit on the bench and I'll give a better report next time.
Excellent. Attended a couple of change of appointments at the base, and Councillor Arnott was there as well for the new wing ops officer and logistics officers. No change of command parades this year, which is good. And the regional district had a meeting regarding TELUS fiber installation, so you'll hear more about that in the near future. CAO and I attended that, and a couple of cadet parades that I've attended and that are coming up over the next few weeks as those programs complete. So other than that, we'll see you at the parade on Monday and the opening ceremony for the water park, splash park, I should say, and playground, as well as the sail buildings. And it should be a fun day on Monday for sure. So with that, any questions from the members of the public or media?
No, it's hot in here.
Yes. And the CAO, we're not having another meeting here, so that's fixed.
Yeah, I'll second that.
So a motion to adjourn?
Don't forget, on Sunday, there is the